Okay, hi friends. I'm sorry. So, hey guys, it's Carmen, your sleepover business bestie. Going on. Anyway, so today's video, somebody asked me a question today, and they asked me about my experiences. What happens when certain things happen? How have you handled it? So I want to talk about that. Before we get to that, this will be it'll show up. It'll automatically upload to my page. So a lot of you probably won't see it live, and that's fine. But before we get into my worst experiences, I want to talk about kind of what I'm doing this week, because with this business, I've noticed that I'm doing something every week, if not every day, or at least thinking about it. So this week I am thinking about new ways to market, because May is very slow for me. You if you haven't caught the video about competition and competitors, then I told you guys that this first quarter of the year has gone great. I tripled my income from last year. So everything's going good. But now we're into May, and I have one party booked. Well, I did book another one yesterday. So I have two parties booked for May. And the goal is to have at least 1 to 2 parties every weekend. So I am not at that goal. The last weekend of May, I am going out of town. So I don't need that weekend booked. Anyway, so I am figuring out new marketing stuff that I want to do. I'm really going to hit heavy on the SEO part of marketing. Hi, I don't know who joined, but whoever it is, hi. Um, I was just saying how in May I don't have any parties booked, and I need parties booked. So anyway, I need to do that. I want to see if the chat, if anybody says anything. Let me see. Hide all chat messages. I don't want it hid. Show chat. There we go. Okay. So anyway, yes, I need to get into SEO because I don't have any parties booked. So I am going to get straight into. I feel like I keep losing people, but it's okay. I'm not going to pay attention to that. I want to get straight into my worst experiences. So I do want to say before I start that I haven't had any just awful, horrible experiences as a sleepover business owner. So that is a blessing to me. The worst thing that has ever happened to me as far as damages, I think that's probably the worst thing that can happen is damages. So as far as damages go, the worst I've had is smoke damage. Smoke damage is the worst I've ever had. So here's a little story time. So I had some adults. It was a girl. She was turning, I don't know, she might have been turning 21. She was turning 21. I figured she's older. I don't need to charge her a damage fee. Everything will be fine. So I didn't charge her a damage fee. So I didn't tell her not to smoke. I just didn't think about it. I'm not a smoker. I didn't think about smoking, but adults do drink and smoke. But I didn't think about that. She smoked um, while the tents were there, and I believe it was cigarette smoke. So when I came and picked up the party, I didn't smell anything. I didn't think of it. I put my tents. I know you guys have seen what I put my tents in, those plastic bags, and I sealed them up. And they were the lace tents. The tents were sealed up for probably maybe a month. So I sprayed them a little bit, but nothing major. Sealed them up. I go to another party for kids, and I pull out the tents. Instantly, the room smells like smoke. And I'm like, oh, shoot, these tents stink. So I had my assistant with me. I had her run to the store and get like some Febreze, because this lady's basement smells like smoke, and she's having a party for her daughter, and she's obviously not a smoker. And we're in like a nice neighborhood, a really nice house. We're panicking. I have my assistant go get some spray. She gets the spray, and we try to spray the tents with Lysol, Febreze. Nothing is working. So I told the owner, I said, hey, I can run to my storage, I can get new tents because these smell horrible of smoke. She was like, okay, yeah, I do smell it. She was like, but it's okay, don't worry about it. Fine, we leave. That night she texts me and she's like, everybody noticed this smoke smell. I'm just gonna wash the tents. And so initially I was just like, okay, fine, I'm so sorry. She washes the tents. That was mistake number one. Never let anybody wash your tents. The lace tent, and let me say, the lace tents are probably the only, and the all white canvas tents are probably the only ones that wash really well. I don't know if you guys are saying anything in the chat. I'm gonna just put it up to see if, okay, nobody, it looks like nobody's saying nothing, so that's fine. So anyway, So I let her wash the tents. Mistake number one, never ever do that under any circumstances. So when I get back the next day, some of the tents are like put together wrong. They're like just weird and stretched out, and it just was awful. So I felt so bad. I gave the lady half her money back for the party. Mind you, I had to pay my assistant. So I didn't really make any money on that party. So that was my first bad experience. I didn't charge these people who smoked on my tents a damage fee. I didn't tell them they can't smoke. Then I showed up to somebody else's house with some smoky, stinky, smelly ass tents, and it didn't reflect well on me, and I lost money on the party. That was my first bad experience. Another bad experience I had with competition, like a competitor in my area. I was very new, and I knew that this shouldn't have happened, but I kind of, it happened and I learned from that. But, and that's why I always tell you guys, never use anybody's pictures. That's not what I did really, but let me tell you the story. So I have a friend who owns an event space. She's like, Carmen, let's get together. You do the parties at my event space, and we'll both make money. So I'm like, cool. So she hires somebody to make a flyer. She gives me the flyer. There's another picture of somebody else's tents on the flyer. I said, whose picture is this? She was like, oh, it's just an event venue's picture. So I'm like, okay. I post the flyer on my Instagram story. 15 minutes later, the company, and I knew about the company in the area, the company wrote me and said, hey, you're using our picture, take it down. So I instantly, my heart dropped. I'm like, dang. So now, because I feel like I'm very creative, I feel like my work is good, I feel like my work is better than theirs. But needless to say, this person she hired used their picture, and it just made me look like I stole their picture and posted it. So I took it down immediately. I'm like, I apologize. That was a mistake. I didn't know, I apologize. So it just was kind of embarrassing. Me and that other company, like, we don't have any type of relationship. And I do have relationships with the other companies here in my city. So that was a mistake I made. That's why I always tell people, even though your intentions may not be bad or malicious, never use other people's work. And that's one thing about veterans in this industry. They really don't like newbies because they feel like sometimes they don't have integrity, or they use people's work, or yada yada yada. So that was a bad experience that I had. The other like really bad experiences are people damaging your items, and that's something that you're going to kind of have to get used to because it's kids using them, and half the time the adults aren't watching them. So I remember one time, my really really first bad damage experience. I went to this lady's house, and she lived in a not so nice area. um Her floor was not clean. She had a like hardwood floors. Her floors were not clean. Her floors were so dirty, they were sticky. I'm kind of passive, and I don't say much to people. Mind you, this is it's a new business. She's like my fifth or sixth party. It was early. Her floor is sticky. I don't say shit. I don't say nothing because I'm like, not the floors are sticky. This is just weird. So I'm just like, whatever. I keep my shoes on, and I set up. I leave. The next day I come back. There's like red juice, whatever sticky was on her floor was on my tents. I should have never ever ever set up and not said anything. I don't know what I was thinking. After that, I started making, I think I showed it with you guys before. I started making a like a little listing of what what I should, what the expectations of the clients, because now, because your floor is dirty, now my items are dirty, and these red Kool-Aid stains are still on my black and white tents. So make sure you're, that's why I do send like a text message, hey, put the pets up, make sure your kids are away, make sure your floors are clean, mopped, whatever, because we're not going to be able to start if your floors are dirty. I don't say that, but basically I send that out now because I never said it before, and now my stuff is all stained. My IKEA trays, they are always broken. What else? Paint. You'll get, okay, another thing that happened was I did get paint, or it was hair dye on one of my tents, and I just washed it. It came out, it was an all white tent. Those striped tents, like those black and white, those pink and white, those, I don't think those wash very easily. So you'll have to like spot clean them or whatever. So that type of stuff happens. And so what I do when there is damage or anything, I just tell the person like right then and there, like, hey, I just kind of see that there's this, and this. So I will go home, I'll send you an itemized list of how much the stuff costs, and then I'll take it out of your damage fee. No one's ever complained. No one's ever had a problem with that. And I pretty much just charge how much the item costs me, which I feel like when somebody damages your items, you should be, hey everybody who's joining, you should basically be probably adding a little more for the inconvenience. Me personally, I don't, but I feel like as a true professional business, if some of your stuff does mess up, you should probably charge more than what you pay for your item just for the inconvenience. So outside of damages, another issue I've kind of had or bad experience I've had was a mom got mad at me, and she was a referral from another customer that I did a party for. And that referral, that person that I did the party for first, happened to be a patient of mine at my office. So this is what happened. This lady is reaching out to me. She's inquiring about a date. We're going back and forth on email. In the meantime, probably a week prior, this guy reaches out to me, and that was the party of 20. I don't know if you guys follow me. If you know me, I was excited about that party of 20. He paid in the midst of her going back and forth with me. So I don't have, and it was the same exact thing. Now I don't have 25 of this same thing. So I ended up telling her, I said, hey, the date is now booked, but I can still do your part, because it was actually a day in between. I told her, the party, I do have a party that next day and it's the same theme, so I won't be able to do that theme. So she still paid. And so in the meantime, she paid, and I said, okay, thank you. Did you pick a new theme? She didn't say anything. So then hours later, she's like, hey, what do you mean did I pick a new theme? I said, well, I told you before that I ended up booking a party. Somebody ended up paying their invoice later than I expected. And she was pissed. Like, she was just so upset. And she said, I didn't know that the party wasn't booked, and that's why I kind of make it clear now that parties are not booked until you pay. Because it's kind of like, we did go back and forth, but you never paid. So the date technically is not yours. So that is another bad experience. Let me think of any other. I think that's pretty much it. Just the damages. Somebody smoking. A couple of you might have missed it. I was telling a story about someone smoking, some adults smoking in the tents, and I had to refund a lady back half of her party because her place was just smoky. I think that's pretty much it as far as just bad experiences. I do feel like, though, when I do have bad experiences or there's something negative, I remain calm, and I just try to remain professional. I don't go back and forth, because what I don't want is somebody to leave me a bad review. Okay, one more story. One more story. I had this lady. I was out of town on a cheerleading. My daughter had like a cheerleading competition in Florida. So I had my assistant go and set up the party. So that night, the customer texts my assistant and she sends her pictures. The next morning, she texts my assistant and says, one of the mattresses kept deflating. Do we get a discount? So my assistant texted her back and she said, we left an extra air mattress that was inside of a box, and we left a pump. And that's what you do if a mattress deflates, because they are air mattresses. Sometimes they do deflate. So the lady texted back and was basically like, well, I didn't know I could use it. I thought it would be too much work, just kind of making a bunch of excuses. So I told my assistant, okay, stop texting her, let me text her. So I text her, and I apologized. I said, hey, I apologize that the mattress kept going down, but sometimes these happen. It's not really predictable when these mattresses will go down. But it happened. I apologized. And I said, that is why we leave a brand new air mattress in a box and a pump for you to use in case this ever happens. So she never responded to me. She never responded to my assistant. I told my assistant, go ahead and go pick up, and let's just see what happens. So when my assistant got there, the lady was like, well, I never really went downstairs, and just kind of forgot about it. She did say, though, I saw that you text Carmen and told her, and she said, I guess that's okay. So basically, she didn't really trip about that. So that's fine. Another bad experience I keep forgetting that I accidentally refunded someone $500. They had like three payments. They had their $150 deposit, and then they had like a $500 payment and like a $400 payment, because when people have larger payments, I like to split them up. This lady was an OBGYN, she was a doctor, but I made a mistake on Honeybook and I refunded an entire payment instead of a damage deposit. That was awful because I didn't know. I felt like she was probably a pretty stand-up lady, so I didn't think she was going to keep my money. However, it was just the hassle of trying to just track her down or try to stop the payment. You just got to really be organized and make sure you're clicking the right buttons and stuff, because that could have ended up terrible, because some people would have just taken that money back and left. She didn't. She let it clear her bank. She did make me wait, which is understandable. She made me wait until it cleared her bank, and it took about a week, and then I sent her an invoice and she just paid me back my money. So that was cool. I don't know if you guys have any comments or questions or anything. I don't see anybody in the chat. I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I don't see any in the chat. Oh, okay. I see a hey. Yeah, hey, yes. Ask me any questions. I think that's all my stories. I don't know if anybody just got in and didn't hear any, but I'll kind of recap. Yeah, the smoke. Make sure people don't smoke in your stuff. Make sure you charge a little more for that damage deposit, and make sure you check everything. That's another thing. Sometimes I'll leave and say, hey, everything looks good, and then thank you. Sometimes I leave and I say everything looks good, and then back at storage, or I'm back at home and I'm like, oh wait, this is broke. And I just kind of feel like once I already say, hey, it's good, we're done, I'm not going to go back and be like, well, you did break this. Another thing is, one thing you should always have on hand, if you use teepees, are extra teepee poles. If I can remember, I'll try to link extra poles and stuff in my note, because sometimes kids break the teepee poles, and the poles are like, I don't know, $15 for a whole pole. And I hope you guys know what I'm talking about by the pole. It's like the wooden pole, and then there's a white plastic connector, and then another wooden. So those are always good to keep on hand, because I've had a child break that. How much did you charge for a damage deposit? Thank you for asking. I charge $75. I have never once ever went over that for any damages. However, I know a lot of companies charge $100. I think you should be good around $75 to $100. Nobody's ever complained. They always pay. So just keep that in mind. But $75 to $100 is a very good damage fee. Do you have the extra tint info in writing so the clients will know? I don't understand that question. Do I have the extra tint info? I'm sorry. Maybe could you reword that? Because I don't understand. Hello, do you include a delivery? I do not include a delivery fee. However, I think you should. I price my packages a little higher than anyone in my area, and so I kind of just use that as a delivery fee. Now, there are some suburbs that are hella far from me, and I will tell them, okay, yeah, it's going to be a $50 delivery fee. But if it's within like 10, 15, even 20 miles, I don't charge a delivery fee, because I am already priced higher than everybody else. I definitely would suggest going ahead and doing a delivery fee, especially if your prices are I don't want to say low, because hopefully they're not super low, but especially if they're like maybe around the same as everybody else, because pretty much everybody charges a delivery fee. Any other questions? I don't want to miss any. The one question about the extra tent, I might not have gotten you, and I don't know if she left, but I do have in my contract, and I do have that for sale on Etsy, and I'm not trying to sell anything, but I do have in my contract, you're going to pay this delivery fee. If anything is broken, I'm going to send you an itemized list, and that's that. I do have that, yes, you're going to pay this delivery fee, and it's refunded in 24 to 48 hours. I hope that makes sense, if that even answered the question. Any other questions? Okay, good. Any other questions? I'm here. I'll answer whatever you want, guys. I'll probably get off in a couple minutes. But you are so welcome. Yes, one more. Ask away. I'm here. I got you 6, and I'm happy for you 6. Yeah, ask me what you want. Things do happen. If you have children, you know that children do stuff. I do have some marks and some stains on my tents, and I do have a stain remover. How did you book my first? So I actually booked my first party. It was someone that I knew, and she just wanted to support the business, and she booked my first, like, non-known person. I did a what is it called, a giveaway party, and I had someone who, how do you schedule pickups? I'll answer that in a second. I picked someone on the giveaway who was sort of like a mini influencer, because I knew she would post. She's like a blogger, so I knew she would post. And then how do I schedule pickups? Is that what the question was? How do I schedule pickups? Basically, once I go to the party to set up, I say, okay, our pickup time is between 12 and 2. And I say, is there a particular time that you need? Most people are like, it's Sunday. Most people are like, oh, we're here all day. The kids are leaving at 10. This is the thing. This is your business. You make the rules. People are going to follow your rules. I'm sorry, I got my daughter's toy. I'm kind of nervous. I never went live. But yeah, so it's your business. It's your rules. You can do whatever you want. You can have whatever times that you want. People ask me that all the time, like, what are your times? So I used to do it late. I used to go at like 4 or 3 on Sunday, but then I'm like, I kind of want my Sunday to myself. So the earlier, the better. So sometimes I go at 11. Sometimes I go at 12. This weekend I'm going at 1. So I make the rules. Any other questions? I don't want to cut it off. Y'all still here. I don't know what else to talk about. So if you have questions, ask away. You need help with a website. Okay. So me, I'm kind of tight when it comes to money. So I said, you know what? When I first started, I'm going to look at the different website platforms, and I'm going to see which one is easiest. I'm going to do a little research. And when I say a little research, it was a little research. And I decided to go with Wix. And I actually just did it myself, because with the website, I do have a video on like what you need on your website. All you need is a home page, just basically where you are, a couple pictures, what your services are. Then you need like a package page. This is what I offer. This is how much it costs. Then you maybe need an FAQ page, because a lot of people still don't get this business. And then you need maybe an about me page, and then maybe a themes page. So that's really not a lot. And then with this like AI caption stuff, which if you don't know, the AI is like the artificial intelligence. They even have that on Wix. So if you're not good with writing, because I'm not good with writing at all, and punctuation, none of that. The Wix has this AI generated like captions and basically wording built into their website. So you can just type in, okay, we are a sleepover company in Columbus, Ohio, and we offer the best customer service. You type that in and then click the AI generation, they'll spit out something way better. So I built my own, or you can try Fiverr, and I'll show you guys how to pick the best person on Fiverr. It's Fiverr, and it's basically you're hiring somebody to do that for you. Hope that answered your question. But I would definitely look into doing it yourself, because it's the cheapest way. It's easy. You only need about 5 pages, or you can hire somebody on Fiverr who can in India who will do it for $100. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other questions? I'll probably leave in about 2-3 minutes. Let me know. Trying to think of anything. Thank you. Any questions? But don't be scared to start the business because of competition or of damages. That's why in my pricing video I say make sure you build your pricing on knowing that you will replace stuff. I replaced a ton of air mattresses. That's what I'm replacing the most. Some people use those foam mattresses. I just don't have the space for that in my car or my SUV. And another thing I've replaced are those IKEA trays. Those are hell. I would not recommend getting those. I still put them in my vendor list because people like them. They look good, but those are hell. They break. I'm nervous about getting overwhelmed. It can be overwhelming. It can, especially when you start making money. And sorry, I'm getting distracted. Crap, I bought those. I'm gonna come back to you. It can be overwhelming. It can be scary. However, if I did not start this business, honestly, with all this inflation, I would be kind of struggling. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a dental hygienist. I make $42 an hour. That's not a lot, but that's a decent amount of money to make. I have an associate's degree. I don't have a bachelor's. I don't have a master's. Well, I do have a bachelor's, but it's not in dental hygiene. Anyway, I'm just saying that's a decent living. But without having my business, I'm telling you, I don't know how I would make it. Oh, I just missed the comment. I don't know how I can go back. Shoot. Somebody just wrote a comment. It was pretty long, and I don't know how to go back. It comes to me and then it pops away. What tray tables would you? IKEA has a flat wooden tray that I like, and they also have this plastic one, and I hated it. I hated it. People use it. It's flat, it's clear, it's plastic. I've used it a couple times. Look on my Instagram, Raining Sleepover Parties. You'll see it in some of the pictures. And what I've learned is you put a 8x10 tray cover, and that looks way better than like using different size tray covers. But it is, and that tray is like $4.99, but it's flat, it's clear, it's plastic. And there's nothing wrong with those one trays, but to pay $15 per tray and the kids keep breaking them is nerve-wracking. Somebody wrote a long comment, and I don't know what it is, and I really want to answer or question, and I don't know how to get it back. All messages are, hold on. Oh, here we go. I just joined. Where is the best place to get tents? I really don't want to make them. The best place to get tents are Land. I love Tiny Land. I have links everywhere. Just look at my videos. Look at my Instagram page, Your Sleepover Party Business Bestie. I have that everywhere. Where I get the tents. Okay, yeah, Tiny Land is where I get the tents. I'm trying to look at the messages. Crap, I brought these trays. Yeah, those trays are cool. Like I said, just prepare to replace them. And then I do want to go back to the comment about getting overwhelmed. It'll happen, but I say just have faith and just keep at it. Hire help when you can, as soon as you can, and I promise you it will not be that bad. But if it wasn't for this business, like I said, with this inflation and with just life in general, I don't know. I mean, I made over $50,000 last year with this business. It's not a lot, but it's some people's salary. So yeah, I can't wait to okay, you say that now. As long as you have help, I think you'll be fine, because I do have some help. Any other questions? I'm here. I'm sitting here. I just have to go back to work at 1. So can you start a beginners order? I thought about, okay, she's asking, can I start a beginners business owners group on Facebook? I have thought about it, and if I do, I won't like charge or anything. So yeah, I'll start one. But there are plenty on Facebook, and I'm telling you, if I didn't have my community of owners from my Facebook group, I don't know where I would be, because they helped me tremendously. The group is closed. They are not letting people in. I don't know if you missed it, if you were here or you left, but I said owners of sleepover businesses, like the OG owners, like I'm 2 years in, we got people 5 and 6 years in, they are reluctant and hesitant to help new owners because of stealing pictures and stealing verbiage on websites. So if you can find a Facebook group, just Google Sleepover Business Owners Group, you'll find some that are open, and just, I'm telling you, they'll answer all kind of questions for you. How many tents I did a video on what you should start with. I would start with 3, and I would say 3 because it might be a minute before you start booking, and 3, you can take good pictures with just 3 tents. You'll be just fine with 3 tents. So I would start with 3 tents. Any other questions? I'm not leaving yet, but you know, I probably got about 5, 6, 7 minutes. So yep, keep asking questions. I'm looking to see if I missed any questions. I don't think I did, though. Yeah. Yep. And and one thing about this business, if you haven't started, it will take time to get some bookings. That's the long and short of it. It will take some time. Oh, sorry. Hold on, guys. Okay, I'm so sorry. my phone overheated and it shut down. And yeah, so I see only one person's left. It's probably me, but because I don't know how this works. But I am headed back to work. I really appreciate everybody who tuned in, whether it was for 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 20 minutes. I will do this again since it seems like I'm getting a little audience. So yeah, thank you guys. Bye bye.